So good morning everyone. Good morning Ma'am Cherry. So this is the continuation of our report. So before we proceed to our proper discussion, I have a question for all of you. So how would you characterize an artistically literate student? So ari sa ato ang classroom is we already know some of our classmates who are artistically literate and di lang kayo sa siya na naglimit sa arts, which is ang pagkahibaw mo drawing or mo paint, but also in other diverse artistic media, right? Like dancing or kana pang ara sa technology or sa uban pa. And then let's proceed to our lesson proper, which is characterizing artistically literate individuals. So literature on art education and art standards in education cited the following as common traits of artistically literate individuals. So there are 5 here. So these 5 are the common traits of artistically literate individuals. So first, we have the use of variety of artistic media, symbols, and metaphors to communicate their own ideas and respond to the artistic communications of others. So as we all know, the artistically literate individuals, it reflects the ability to communicate through diverse artistic media, which are visual, art, music, and dance, and interpret symbolic or metaphorical meanings with artworks. So, artistically literate individuals are able to communicate their thoughts and express themselves through diverse artistic media, as I have mentioned. And dili lang kay ari sa arts or sa painting, drawing ra siya nga na limit. It also in the music, dance, visual arts, and theater. And number 2, we have developed creative personal realization in at least one art form in which they continue active involvement as an adult. So they're characterized by their ability to engage actively and meaningfully with at least one art form. So it involves mastering techniques, exploring self-expression, and continuing to evolve artistically. So all of us, or sa ato ang mga kailang kung artistically literate, nakitay usa ka kuan gani style or form nga murag ato ang gina-practice hangtod sa gikan sa atong pagkabata hangtod sa atong pagdako. Kay murag naaman tayo usa ka style nga gisunod gani nga murag arita nga kuan nga maka-properly express sa ato ang kaugalingon. And then number 3, cultivate culture, history, and other connections through diverse forms and genres of artwork. So these are individuals actively engaged with diverse forms and genres of artwork to explore and connect with culture and history. So artistically literate individuals doesn't just only settle with one art form. So ma-curious gini sila sa ilahang sa environment, and they will try to engage themselves in diverse forms and genres of artwork nga not only mo connect sa ilang kaugalingon but also have a connection with our culture and history. And these artistically literate individuals reflect their ability to appreciate art's role in preserving cultural heritage. And number 4, find joy, inspiration, peace, intellectual stimulation, and meaning when they participate in the arts. So, artistically literate individuals, di lang kayo ni sila ilaning buhaton kay tungod kay required or kuan or nagsulti sila nga kinahanglan sila nga mahimong artistically literate, but they find joy. They find joy and inspired sila sa paghimo sa ilahang kuan, sa ilahang piece, sa ilahang artwork or sa ilahang mga arts nga gipang himo. And through this, maka-feel sila o spiritual fulfillment kay ilamang kaugalingong gusto nga buhaton ning butanga. And number 5, seek artistic experiences and support the arts in their communities. So those who actively seek joy, dili there. So, kuan. So, pareho sa nag-una, they also seek artistic experiences. So they also want to learn from other people's artistic experiences and support the arts in their community. So sila pud is ganahan pud sila mo participate sa kuan, sa mga communities nga kuan gani nga through their art or pwede nila mapadako ang kuan, ang kanang arts are sa ilang communities mo participate sa. So we are now done in characterizing artistically literate individuals. Now we proceed to issues in teaching creativity. So in his famous TED Talks on creativity and innovation, Sir Ken Robinson, The School Skill Creativity 2006, How to Escape Education's Death Valley 2015. So kini siya is atara ni siyang makita sa YouTube ang kini sa TED Talks nga naaari sa nga na-mention sa module. And this stressed paradigms in the education system that hamper the development of creative capacity among learners. So, iyang gi-mention ang mga patterns gani nga ni-occur sa ato ang education system nga nagkuan sa ganini murag either ni-hinder sa development of the creative capacity among learners. And he emphasized that schools stigmatize mistakes. So, according to him, is ang atong schools daw is they stigmatize mistakes, or making mistakes are unacceptable, or it's a negative occurrence for learners or for students. And so this primarily prevents students from trying and coming up with mistakes. So instead nga makakuan ang kanang students maka-learn is mura sila ma-pressure nga they have to do everything without mistakes. So this will prevent them from learning and enhancing their skills and development. So he reiterated the hierarchy of systems. So, first, useful subjects such as math and languages for work are at the top, while arts are at the bottom. So, makita man gyud nato nga murag na hatagan og kanang importansya ang math o ang languages sa atong education o sa work. So, they are deemed to be superior kaysa sa arts. Ang arts murag naa siya permi sa bottom while these useful subjects remain at the top. So, secondly, academic ability has come to dominate our view of intelligence. So, sa una pod is nakahuna-huna pod ko nga ang academically inclined persons or katong mga hibaw mo kuan mo usong math makakuan og science, English or unsa pa na is murag superior gani siya, more bright na kayo ang pagtan-aw nato sa katao if he or she has this ability. So we make it as a definition of someone's intelligence, right? And then our curriculum competencies, classroom experiences, and assessment are geared toward the development of academic ability. So, ato ang kanyang mga curriculum competencies daw and classroom experiences and assessments nga gikuan sa schools is only geared to the development of our academic ability, our critical thinking, understanding, and unsa pa na siya or about analyzing something, di ba? And then later on is ato ang mga universities kay gitrain ang mga students para mo-take og kanang entrance exams later on and board exams, di ba? You know, yung mga yun na. Pero mao ni siya ang kanang emphasize ni Sir Ken Robinson sa iyang TED Talks. And then because of this painful truth, Robinson challenged educators to, number 1, educate the well-being of learners and shift from the conventional learnings toward academic ability alone. So, educate the well-being of learners. So, unsa may pasabot ani niya? So, he challenged educators to educate the well-being of learners. So, di na lang kay nga kita as future educators is mag-rely lang tas on the academic ability side of our students, which means drills and rote learning exercises para sa ato ang mga student, but of course we have to focus on their well-being, their mental, their physical, and overall well-being as a student. So from teacher-centered approach, we have to shift to the learner-centered approach, right? Kay hibaw naman taon sa ang teacher-centered approach in teaching, di ba? So number 2, give equal weight to the arts, the humanities, and to physical education. So as educators pod, we have to give equal weight or balance gani siya nga naputay enough time for teaching these things sa ato ang mga students o sa mga subjects nga kanang superior ay sa academics, which is English, science, and mathematics. Number 3, facilitate learning and work towards stimulating curiosity among learners. So if we meant by facilitate learning, we as teachers should not only be spoon-feeding our students information and then let them receive it and di sa mag-provide og ganang feedback. So as educators nga is we have to guide our students in their learning or in their kay mao man na ang atuang buhaton gyud, dili lang kayo sila nga magsunod sa kung unsa ang atuang ganahan nga ipabuhat sa ilaha, diba? And we would also work towards stimulating curiosity among learners. So kita pod ninyo nga educators is we must kanang murag maka-spark or kita'y maghatag spark sa ilahang kanang curiosity sa tanan nilang kanang buhaton kay diba when they get curious they would eventually research or even try things nga murag think nila mao ni ang murag ilahang ganahan or ilahang ganahan buhaton, right? So awaken and develop powers of creativity among learners. So as educators, we should also be responsible in developing their ability. So, kung makita gani nato ang usa ka student nga naay potential sa sa ato ang kuan sa ato ang topic, which artistic and creative literacy. So, if we saw someone, or if we saw a student that has a potential in the artistic field, so kita mo encourage sa ila nga mo padayon or mo enter na nga competition kay para ma-hone or mahasa ang ilahang skills sa pag-drawing. And then, fifth, view intelligence as diverse, dynamic, and distinct, contrary to common belief that it should be academic ability geared. So, we as educators should view intelligence as diverse, dynamic, and distinct. Atong hunahon pud nga dili lang kay nga ang intelligence is solely on the English, mathematics, or science. And there are also individuals, or we have students that are artistically inclined, diba? May sa dance, may sa arts, may sa paghimo, or kanang mga kanang engineering, or kanang maghimo-himo og mga butang ba nga mga practical nga mga inventions, mga inana. And this applies to Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, nga naay mga individuals nga sa math, sa dance, sa arts, or sa nature, and then follows. And that's all, and now we proceed to our last discussion for this day. So now let's move on to the 4 essential components to developing or designing curriculum. But first, in first literacies, art, creativity, play, constructive meaning making, McArdle and Wright asserted that educators should make deliberate connections with children's first literacies of art and play. So we as educators we must make connections with our students' first literacies of art and play. Di lang kay ta mo diretso o kanang kuan sa ilaha, tudlo sa ilaha o kini nga butanga, but we also have to make connections sa ilahang first literacy sa art and play. And then this would include a focus on children's creation, manipulation, and changing of meaning through engaged interaction with art materials through physical, emotional, and social immersion. So, ang kini siya is mag-include ni siya sa usa ka sa pagkuan gani, paggamit sa usa ka bata sa mga symbols, sa ilahang first gani learn sa ilang kanang early childhood kay ba kanang curious magkena sila sa kuan, din makita sila og mga kanang color mo diri sila kanang himo ara og kanang mga lines ba or strokes using art materials, diba? And then they make meaning sa ilang gipangbuhat kay maom na ilahang belief nila, ilang kaugalingon nga pagtana sa usa ka butang. And then ang kining upat ari nga components or developing or designing a curriculum, these are the components that will cultivate the learners' artistic and creative literacy. And such approaches actively encourage the creative and constructive thinking involved in meaning making, which are fundamental to the development of the systems of reading, writing, and numbering. So first, So we have number 1, imagination and pretense, fantasy, and metaphor. Makita ra? So makita ra man no? Or although nila traged ang kanang
Gamay.
back na portion. Ipa, kuan. Sige, zoom gawin. Ika na. Oo na siya. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, arita sa 1. Ipakita ko. So, number 1, a creative curriculum will not simply allow, but will actively support play and playfulness. So, ari kay ang teacher will plan for, of course, sa kanang kuan, will plan for the learning of the students nga kuan gani mo target sa kung unsa sila, and dili kay nga kung asa na. So the teacher daw will plan for learning and teaching that will make the students realize who they are and who they are not, and making meaning in everything they'll do, and building narratives and manipulation of symbols and other. So mukuan ang mga students is they would be able to express themselves, use their imagination, and manipulating symbols in their own accord. And number 2, active menu to meaning making. So ang kanang usa ka classroom nga mo allow for the students to draw, write, paint, and play according to their mood, and then sa kung unsay ilahang gusto mo follow na ara ang literacy learning, mo follow na ara ang ang literacy learning o ang artistic learning, is they will inform each other, mo support sila sa learning sa usa ka child. And number 3, intentional holistic teaching. So a creative curriculum requires a creative teacher who understands the creative processes and supports the learning experiences of learners. So ang intentional teaching doesn't mean na drill or rote learning exercises or kanang daghan nga mga rote learning exercises, kay ang kanang inana is man na siya, di na siya mao ang sa ato ang intentional teaching. Kay ang intentional teaching is na thought is siya na thoughtfulness and purpose. So ang atong pagtudlo sa bata is not only for memorization or solely for memorization or repetition of drills, but siya, ang intentional teaching is na siya purpose. Ang kini kay gitudlo ni sa usa ka learner kay para maka-understand sila, makahimo sila, they would be able to construct, build, understand, and appreciate these things and apply it to their real life, to apply in real life, right? And then siya, so this is done through reading a story, making a prop, or mga activities nga meaningful nga activities, engaging and other activities that will support the learners. And then number 4, co-player, co-artist. So we as educators must also understand the importance of children as citizens, nga na sila mga capacities and capabilities from here and now. And then we as teachers also need to make time for them, to make time for the students. Sa kuan nga dili lang kay ikaw as educator is mo guide lang sa ilaha or mo teach ana, but we also have to talk to them, to make meaningful conversations while they draw or do something sa classroom nga maglaan ta og time para sa ilaha, because di lang man kay ta kanang teacher gyud nga kuan magtutudlo lang gyud. We also can be their friends or support in kuan nila, in their journey of learning and learning kuan artistically. And we must not also kuan our time or kuan or atong ka busy, let's not hinder that from making time for what is important for learners. And that sums up today's discussion. I am Amanda Kirsten B. De Guzman. Thank you everyone for listening, and I hope you have learned something from our discussion. Thank you.